Hey guys, what's up? I've tried shooting this 2 times already, and well, I'm streaming it this time, so there's no going back, right? Okay, so without further ado, let's jump into it. Okay, here we go. So I'm breaking this tutorial up into 4 steps. We have placing the masses of the head, sculpting the landmarks. We have adding the features, and finally rendering the head and adding hair and all that stuff. And bonus, I'll also do a quick segment on proportions at the end. So let's do it. Okie doke. So, number 1, masses. So I like to start with a 2x3 oval. Like so. And this is actually the Byrne-Hogarth method. So that places the head on our page, and then you can decide which direction it's facing with a center line. So let's put our center line here, which means our head is facing this way. And let's put another center line across the face. And let's make him look just slightly upwards. Now, what I really love about this method is it's very intuitive with just drawing a plain old oval, and that sort of puts the face on the page. And there's also a cool trick, which is you find the distance of the center line here to the middle of the oval, and you add that same distance to the back here, and that gives the skull. So we're also adding the cranium here. Oops. And there's our cranium. So that's pretty much the masses of the head we sort of placed around our page. Next, we'll move on to sculpting the landmarks of the head. So we're sculpting this mass that we've placed on the page, essentially. So generally, start by adding a brow ridge it goes on top of this center line, which is where the eyes sit. And from here, I like to sort of add the problem with this oval is that if you drew a chin here, the face would go far too backwards. So I like to just re-establish the face coming down a bit like this. And that gives me an idea of where I might put the chin. So let's put the chin there. So we're sort of sculpting in and out of this shape that we have here. Next, the nose in as a block. May come out a bit more than that. It comes down about halfway. There we go. I'll add another line here. And one there. Okay. Where are we up to? Next, I would add the cheekbones and the jawline, probably. And also that muzzle of the mouth, which I like to think of as a tube. You can also think of it as kind of a circle. and probably the skull comes down a bit lower, down to here, and that, maybe not that low, we'll see. And the jaw comes down here, and probably got a bit of the jawline coming out on the side here. So already the sculpting the features is sort of coming out a bit. The halfway down the nose, we have the bottom of the sockets, which also defines the cheekbones. So that's a useful landmark to know. And the cheekbones come about halfway back to the jawline, like so. And in this stage, I also like to add a bit of a line here, which sort of joins the cheekbones to the jawline. There's this sort of plan here. I'm using a lot of here and there, aren't I? Not being very specific. And I would also, at this stage, start getting the shape of the skull here a bit more, like just adding that ridge there, for example. So we're not looking up at, and this, oh, I think this should be down here. I'd also just add, oh, I think this should be down here. Sorry, I'm a bit confused about this. I'll just shade that in to show where it is. Okay. And adding in the ears, which line up about with the nose. And we might see a bit of the underside of them. Okay. So now that we've done sculpting into the face a bit, I might just add some eyeballs as well, because why not? Now that we've sculpted into it a bit, it's time to add some features. And adding the features is actually very similar to sculpting into the masses of the head, except that we're looking at a smaller level of detail. So I can just find the right pen. Okay, we're going green. Pen. Okay, we're going green. So number 3. So we're looking at features. I would often start with the eyebrows, which sort of go upwards. They sort of start on the underside of this plane, if you know what I mean. And they actually stay a similar thickness throughout, although there is like a bit of a extra thickness here. But, and what gives the illusion that they're changing thickness is often the way that they're placed on this three-dimensional surface. Like this, if you know what I mean. So they're actually rotating this way. Is that right? It might actually be the opposite. So this eyebrow starts facing rather downwards, and by the end of it is facing rather outwardly or almost upwards. Outwardly or almost upwards. So that can really help with placing the eyebrows on the forehead. And it it goes hand in hand with the idea that this ridge doesn't follow the shape of the eyebrows like this. It actually goes like this, and the eyebrows go over it like that. So there's some useful tips for the eyebrows. Features. So we can move down to the eyes now. They can be placed onto this pink sphere. Oops, I think I'll put a bit higher than that. So I'm not great at this, but you want to think of this pink sphere as a three-dimensional surface that you're placing your eyelids onto. Now you can see I've blundered here a bit, but it's okay. That's what we're here for, to learn. Yeah. So those are not the greatest eyes ever that I've drawn, but they'll do for us for now. Let's move on to the lips. They fit onto this muzzle shape. And from the bottom of the nose, they go down halfway between the chin and the nose. So the bottom lip, the corner of the eyes is, sorry, the corner of the lips line up with the pupil of the eyes. So it'll go to about here. And the bottom lip goes down to about halfway between here. Okie doke. Okie doke. So that's the mouth, and you want to sort of make it follow the round, that round cylinder that I was talking about. And it joins up to the bottom of the nose. Up to the bottom of the nose. Let's start doing the nose. So firstly, halfway down the nose is where the bony part ends. And where the bony part ends is where it becomes cartilage, because there's this hole inside where the air flows through into the lungs and whatnot. And the bony part ends with this angular thing here, which is very prominent on some people and not so much on others. Okie doke. So there's our nose. Sorry, I sort of stopped talking for a minute there. I was focusing on that nose and trying our nose. Sorry, I sort of stopped talking for a minute there. I was focusing on that nose and trying to think of what to say. And it can be a bit hard to explain what I'm thinking at times. Nostril will come in there a bit like this. And the nostril, the nose is sort of the cartilage part, which starts around here, right? Has sort of two parts, and some people have a little dividing line here, others won't. But that's why that's there. And it's sort of, so this is one piece of cartilage that connects these two masses. And there's a second piece of cartilage that makes up the flares of the nose. We also have like a crescent shape here, which helps make up the eye socket and then bridge of the nose, which helps make up the eye socket and then bridge of the nose. And also add detail to the ears. Also add detail to the ears. So the cheekbone runs into the zygomatic bone. I think I've put the ear a bit low here. So the cheekbone runs into the zygomatic bone. I think I've put the ear a bit low here. Oops. And there's this sort of bit around the edge of the ear. We're looking up at it, so we can put a bit of a shadow here. There's a bit of a Y shape in here. Not great at ears, to be honest. So there we go. A bit of an ear shape. If we look at the bones here, a gap here where it runs down from the eyebrow to the cheekbone, the zygomatic bone. And from this point in the brow ridge, it also runs back like this, which is where the temporal muscle slots in like so. And this muscular ridge, this bony ridge here sort of comes down like this and widens here. So that it sort of almost comes up in inverted crescent here that runs into this, crescent that we placed here. So you probably see a bit of that on this side as well. So it's almost like you have this globe here, like this whole bulbous section of the forehead, and that globe continues going here, sort of keeps going uninterrupted, except that there's this bit here that sort of visually interrupts it, that sticks out to make it wider again at the brow ridge. So the brow ridge does have an arc like this, so it's not just straight. But if it weren't for these bony bits here, it would be even more arched, if you know what I mean. That's what I'm trying to get at. Anyway, keep on going with the features. We kind of want to connect all these parts of the face together. So beneath the bottom lip, there's these two masses which actually kind of make up the bottom lip, because the bottom lip is divided into two muscles, and then they attach sort of on either side of this jutting out chin, which actually isn't formed just by the bone. There's a bit of like cartilage or something on the chin to give it that rounded look. And furthermore, the cheekbones actually have a groove. Here. So there's actually a groove in here. Which is where the muscle that sort of goes around the mouth muzzle comes from, which forms these sorts of lines around the mouth, which obviously, if you put them there, makes someone look older. So you don't always want to put them in there. Sometimes you want to suggest them, not put them in strongly. but for the sake of demonstration, I think it's useful to put them in. And so they sort of slot into this this cheekbone area, slot into this this cheekbone area. And if you put a line here, that sort of suggests them as well. So if someone smiles, they sort of bunch up inside this area and raise the cheeks a bit. Yeah. Speaking of muscles, well, you do want to. Sorry, just remember you want to put a fold over the eye. There usually is one there. It can change a bit depending on the person. But also the skin sort of smooths out to the edge of the eye socket, but this bit is still sort of affected by the bulb. So you can have a bit of a line here as well, depending on how many lines you want to put in there. Now, separating this muscle and that rear part of the jawbone is like the masseter muscle, which sort of attaches here and sort of comes from all around here. And it's that big muscle at the back of the jaw that really gives power to your jaws to like bite things and things like that. And it sort of follows this same angle of the cheekbones, which sort of slant backwards. And that's this line here. Yeah, so that line, if you look at that line, then that sort of also defines where this muscle that we talked about earlier goes, because it sort of comes back around like this, which you wouldn't see this line usually, but it's more of the direction that the face is going, and how the muscles sort of slot together like a puzzle. But one line that you do see, especially if someone clenches their jaw, because it flares this masseter muscle, is a little division here, where it raises this bit. But usually it's softer, where it just sort of seamlessly just comes in a bit. And if someone really clenches their jaw, it becomes more prominent. So that's pretty much all the features, which would bring us to the rendering phase. I might just, again, draw this because I'm having trouble figuring out exactly how it should go. Oops. Yeah, not good enough. So we're now into the rendering phase. I'll use a purple texture for the hair and this texture for the rendering overall. Or maybe I'll use a blue texture for the rendering. I think that would be a good idea. Yeah, okay, we'll use this blue texture for the rendering. And just bear in mind that I'm not amazing at rendering. But I'll have a light source coming this way. So I'll just draw some shadow shapes in here. Well, this would be in shadow. All this would be in shadow. This might be in shadow just here. This would probably be in shadow. This would be in shadow. All of this would probably be in shadow. All of this would probably be in shadow. Okay. Maybe we can try and work with that. Not sure about what I just did there. Oh, we can see how it goes. And I'll also draw in a neck. Why not? Ooh. Maybe a bit of shadow here. And also here. Right. I think I did a bit that I didn't mean to. I think I meant to leave this bit in the light. Oh well, doesn't matter too much. Maybe just the bottom of the eye. Maybe that was a mistake. And the top as well. Yeah, this bit there. Okay. I think that should about do us. And do some hair. So the hair, usually I put about halfway, start the hairline halfway from here to the top of the head. So about here, which maybe is too, maybe it should be a bit higher than that, I'm not sure. Oops. I generally think of the hair as sort of coming sort of parallel to the eyebrows here, probably a bit further away than this. And following the contour of the face and going around there. And what kind of hair should we give him? We can give him give him a crew cut. That'll be the easiest thing to do. Yeah, let's give him just like short hair. So just even short hair will come off the head a bit. Oops. It looks like he has his hair dyed purple, so it's funky enough. He's got some sideburns on him. Okay. Okay, there we go. We pretty much have our face. So there's my head tutorial. There were 4 for rendering. 5 for hair. Okay. I'll also add some eyebrows, or like, you know. I'll also add some eyebrows, or like, you know, make them match his hair. And maybe we can also give him some pupils. Maybe we can also give him some pupils. Okie doke. Now, as promised, I'll also do a brief section on proportions. So let's do that. Okay, so proportions. Oops. So we have the halfway point, which our eyes sit on. We have 5 eyes width across our face. So if you divide the horizontal into fifths, the eyes sit in these 2 fifths. And this middle fifth shows how wide the nose is. And the nose comes halfway between the center and the chin. The bottom lip comes halfway again between the nose and the chin. Top lip is halfway between the nose and the bottom lip. So that gives us our lips here, which come down to where the center of the eyes are, so the pupils. So I need to make that mouth a bit longer. So there we have our mouth. Chin sort of just sits underneath the bottom lip. The brow ridge just comes over like this. The ears sit in between the eyebrows and the bottom of the nose. The ears sit in between the eyebrows and the bottom of the nose, like so. The eye socket is halfway between in this quarter, halfway in this quarter, I guess. And that's also where the bone of the nose ends, halfway down, which is where you have this cavity in the skull. And it's also where it, I guess, lines up with the cavity of the eye sockets, like so. The eye sockets come back a bit. And you have the zygomatic bone is about, lines up with this line, which is halfway between the eyes and the bottom of the nose. And that's about it for the front. The side view of the face fits into a square. So if you divide it into quarters, the ear, the ear is about bang on in the center, actually, I think. Maybe a bit lower than that, actually. The nose comes out like so. The eyes are dead in the middle, with the brow ridge coming up over them. Halfway down is the bottom of the nose, obviously. Halfway down again is the bottom lip. The chin tends to come back a bit. The ear should be should actually be in this bottom quarter, actually, between the eyebrow and the nose. Forehead comes back. Bottom of the ear is where the skull ends. So the skull is 3/4, and the bottom quarter, no skull, goes into the neck. So this is the sort of vertebral column, I guess. Few quick tips. One is for sort of placing the head in three-dimensional space. Putting this and this together, you can sort of have 2 by 3, right? And then 3 by 3. It doesn't look like 3 on this side because I've put perspective in. And then take off a quarter here. So this is the middle. Take off the bottom quarter, and there you have a skull. So you can easily move this 3 by 2 by 3 rectangular prism. Oh, I guess no. Square prism, rectangular prism. Yeah, this square prism or rectangular prism, you could easily manipulate that and then use place the face inside it, like so. So that's useful for really being able to put the head in any position that you can think of. I have one last tip before ending this stream. I like thinking of as a T, like so. So this is like the eye socket. So I'll draw it from this angle as well. And then I like to do this T section sort of. And then I like to do this T section sort of curved like this. Curved like this. Have the cheekbones coming in here. And the jawbone is about here, right? It's a very wide face, but this is just an example. And you can draw a line from this corner of the T down to the jawbone. And that sort of nicely shows the planes of the face, because everything just sort of slots into place from there. And you draw the nose in here and the mouth muzzle here. It all just kind of fits into place for me with this technique. So again, if you find where the jawbone goes, then put that there. That sort of puts everything into place nicely. Yeah. Okay. I think that's enough demoing for now. That's my approach to drawing the heads, particularly like in detail. And I got a lot of this stuff from various places on the internet, but a big chunk of it comes from Bern Hogarth. So particularly that oval thing that I talked about at the beginning. And I feel like what I've added to it is that drawing that tube down from it. Because otherwise, if you just draw the center line, it can be pretty awkward to find where the face sits. So yeah, tell me what you think, and I hope this was useful for you, or entertaining, or whatever the case may be. Catch you next time.